The New York Knicks have 2 wins in their last 8 games, but help is on the way. Or is it? We'll get into it all. Let's talk about it.
Run that intro.
They're playing basketball.
You're listening to the Knicks Nation podcast, where we've got all your Knicks needs covered.
Puts up a three. Bang! Bang! He ties the game!
Now, live from the city that never sleeps, here are your hosts, Anthony and Chris.
What is going on, Knicks Nation? We are back for another live stream edition of the Knicks Nation podcast. This is episode 37, Chris. Episode 37. Appreciate every single you guys in here. We are live on YouTube. If you're listening, re-listening to this on Apple, Spotify, appreciate you guys as well. If you can do so, please leave us a review. It helps out on that end as well. Chris, what is going on? The Knicks coming off that loss against the Boston Celtics. What's up, brother?
I'm good, man. Feeling good, here on a Sunday night, just chopping it up, talking Knicks. Tough loss, man. Tough loss against the Celtics, man. A really good team, that's, number 1 in the Eastern Conference. So, we started off pretty good. Didn't end so well for us, but I took some positive things out of that game. How about you, man? How's the weekend been treating you? How you feeling tonight?
I'm good. I took some positives from that as well. I took some heat. I did the post game after the game. I do the post games or not. I took some heat from Boston Celtics fans because I called the Boston Celtics. They shoot a lot of threes. That's what I kept repeating. And I was like, teams like that, they can get hot in the playoffs, but they can also get cold. And all the Celtics fans were coming after me. And I also said that when healthy, I'm not afraid of Boston. We'll talk about that as well. But I caught some heat from Celtics fans. It was fun. But, hey, I'm humble, too. I'm not just like a Knicks biased, guy that comes on here and, praises the New York Knicks. Obviously, I'll see what what's real. But, yeah, I took some heat from Celtics fans, and that was funny. That was hilarious.
Oh, I can imagine, man. I can't imagine. But like you said, we're not, when it's time to give our dues, we give our dues, Yeah, obviously, this is Knicks Nation. We're pro Knicks. But, look, man, if a team is good and we play them, I'll give them all the props in the world.
All the props in the world. All right. Have a poll up in that YouTube chat. You guys can vote. That we'll touch on in a quick second. But injury updates. I know that's what you guys are here for. We have some injury updates. We have some audio to play from Adrian Wojnarowski that I think is very important. We also have a Julius Randle video that came out yesterday of him actually working out on the court, shooting, doing float jump shots with his left hand, not with his right hand, and, doing cardio. So injury updates, OG Anunoby from Adrian Wojnarowski. It seems like OG Anunoby will get reevaluated on Friday later this week is what he has said. And then it seems like a little bit after that, like we all have expected, like we said during the last podcast, it seems like he is going to return before Julius Randle. So that is a good thing. And Julius Randle, we also have, Adrian Wojnarowski talking about that. Not really that optimistic on the Julius Randle front, but it is still looking like he will return in the middle of March. But Adrian Wojnarowski pretty much sounded a bit cautious when he was talking about Julius Randle. I know I just spat it out a lot there, Chris, but, I guess we can just play. Let's play the Woj clip, and then we'll talk about it. Here is Adrian Wojnarowski on Julius Randle and OG Anunoby.
There's not full clarity on this yet, but know this with Julius Randle. Last season, when he had an ankle injury, there was, a lot of suggestion to him from medical people that he might want to have that surgery that he put off to the offseason during the season. He didn't do it. He played injured into the playoffs, then had the procedure in the offseason. So you kind of start there with Julius Randle. His inclination is to play, and it is to play even hurt and in some discomfort. That's his goal right now, is to try to get back and play and put anything off to the offseason. But that's still fluid. That's not been fully decided. But OG Anunoby, I think better news on that front. Had a loose particle taken out of his elbow back on trade deadline day, February 8th. I'm told He is right on schedule. There's not been any setbacks. They'll reevaluate him at the end of next week, and then the hope is he starts to get back on the court then. But certainly, Julius Randle is the one. I think there's more concern this season about not just getting him back, but how effective can he be playing with that injured right shoulder.
That's some partially good.
So Adrian Wojnarowski said his goal, Julius Randle's goal, is to come back and play, whether that's in discomfort. And we know he's going to be in discomfort, Chris. And then he said OG Anunoby. You got the update on OG Anunoby. When you hear that, Chris, what are your thoughts about that? Sounds like some good news there.
Yeah, I mean, I love the news on OG. I think we all knew OG Anunoby is going to be the first one to come back between the two of Julius and OG. So that's good news. Look, we need OG Anunoby. We've been missing him. Like in the Celtics game, right? We would have had OG Anunoby for the Celtics games. Maybe that's a different outcome.
Yeah.
But I gotta say, man, I'm a little nervous about Julius Randle, man. It went from positive news where they were saying basically, hey, we're gonna reevaluate him. There was minor damage, nothing too crazy. All the reports at the time when it happened were, oh, look, if this is just a dislocated shoulder, then he should be good in a couple weeks with no real detriment to his future per se.
Yeah.
Now we're hearing he might play through pain, it might be a long lasting thing until he gets surgery. So I don't know, man. It makes me really nervous now because look, if that's a shoulder issue and he's going to be playing through it, his style of play dictates that it could get re-injured again. I mean, what do you think on that? Because, Julius, he's at his best when he's playing that bully ball.
That's the thing. He's at his absolute. He's one of the, if not the most physical player in the NBA, playing the bully ball, playing, with that right shoulder, backing people down with that right and left shoulder. Julius Randle does that tremendously. He does that absolutely, at a high level. So, and Julius Randle even come out. They spoke for the first time last week, him and OG Anunoby, and Randle said he's going to do what's best for his body. If that's surgery, it seems like he's just waiting he's just waiting, more days here. As more days goes by, he said he's feeling stronger. So that is a good sign for Julius Randle. And we have a clip here that I'm going to, share my screen with in a bit of Julius Randle working out. Seems like he's doing cardio and whatnot. But yeah, it's nerve-wracking because then you really think about worst case, let's say we get OG Anunoby back and, Julius Randle, let's just talk about it. Julius Randle decides to get surgery, right? Then you have OG Anunoby back without a Julius Randle. Then what is the ceiling of this Knicks team with just an OG Anunoby without a Julius Randle? Then it kind of shifts, When you hear that, what do you think of, with everyone healthy, have the poll up in the chat. I feel like we can go far, but without a Randle and with the OG Anunoby back, because it seems like Anunoby is going to come back before Randle, that's something you think about,
Yeah, for sure. And I'll be honest, look, I've said this in the past, for as maddening as Julius can be, he's very important to this team. And I mean, we're seeing it now, right? With him not being in the core and obviously missing a few other guys as well. But, Julius commands those double teams, whether he's having a good night or a bad night, teams have to honor him. And that alone makes things easier for Jalen Brunson and the rest of the crew. So, not having Randle, in my opinion, that'll be huge. That'll be huge, and obviously not in a good way for us. But how far could we go with an OG Anunoby and a Brunson? I think we could still make noise, obviously, but you would temper expectations at that point for sure.
Yeah. So yeah, exactly. But let's be optimistic. It seems like Randle wants to get back on the court, and if anyone can do it, it is big Julius Randle. He is a warrior coming from the Kobe tree and whatnot. So let me share my screen with you guys and show this Julius Randle footage that came out yesterday. Here is Julius Randle working out before the game. As you can see here, all lefty shots. We only saw a lefty shot in this clip. Doing cardio on the court, sweating his butt off, man. Sweating his butt off, trying to get back on the court. So, Big Jew was working his way back on the court. And in that clip, what went under the radar was kind of, I forgot who was interviewing Tom Thibodeau, but they also said that they expect Julius Randle back in mid-March. So that kind of went under the radar in the clip. Not sure if you heard it in the clip. Not sure if the sound was playing. But they expect Julius Randle to play in mid-March. So that is good news on that front. Get Randle back, get Anunoby back, and then we are cooking. Because OG Anunoby, Chris, I actually thought about this during, that was a few days ago. OG Anunoby's free agent this summer. Hasn't played 70-plus games since his rookie season. Say what you want about him. Great player, great defensive player. He was awesome in January. Durability, he's not really Mr. Durable in his career. I would like him to be. I want him to be. We all would want him to be. I want him to play 82 games, but let's just keep it real. This is what the New York Knicks are probably discussing in the front office. He's a free agent. So I came up with kind of a question, like who has more leverage at the moment, OG Anunoby or the New York Knicks? Anunoby wants to come back and he wants to get paid. He wants to get paid $30+ million. He hasn't played 70+ games since his rookie season, Chris. So that's why I think Anunoby, he's going to come back because he wants to get paid.
Yeah, I believe, I think OG, look, from either side, I think OG Anunoby's here to stay. I don't think the Knicks made that deal, without some sort of, behind the doors or behind the scenes type of agreement where, hey, we're going to sign you, if you come here and we trade for you, we give up these pieces, you're going to sign here long term, right?
Yep.
I'm pretty sure there was some conversation like that. As far as who has the leverage right now, I got to say it's still Anunoby though, right? Because he could just simply turn around and be like, you know what, I'm good. I'll go to some other team that's going to give me, X, Y, and Z dollars. What do you think? In my
No, you're right.
In my opinion,
right.
Anunoby has the power here. He could just be like, look, I'm out of here unless you guys pay me what I want.
Yeah.
But let's not forget, there was many reports that came out that said Anunoby would take a discount to stay with the Knicks. So maybe that's kind of a compromise with games played or something like that.
Yeah. I thought it was just something I thought about. I pondered about. I'm like, he hasn't played 70+ games since his rookie season. He wants to get paid this summer. He's a free agent. And then I thought, all right, OG Anunoby definitely has all the leverage because the New York Knicks definitely, we seen what it looked like in January. It was awesome. It was amazing. He's still going to get his bag. But, durability has been a problem throughout his career. So we just have to wait and see. And Mitchell Robinson, we also got some great news about Mitchell Robinson. Coach here in the chat says that you guys forgot about Mitch. No, we did not forget about Mitchell Robinson. Don't worry. Mitchell Robinson has given us some hope. It's looking like Mitchell Robinson is preparing to come back sooner rather than later. This was on his Instagram feed. Put this up in the chat. This was Mitchell Robinson. I guess he reposted somebody. It says, "My boy is ready and primed to kill it for the rest of the season." Then he added Mitchell Robinson, and Mitchell Robinson reposted it with a shh emoji. Oh boy, when I saw this, Chris, this got me super excited, man. Can't wait. When you see this, man, gives you butterflies, man.
Gets me hyped, man. Gets me hyped because for him to start, he's getting more and more active on social media. To me, that means that he's feeling pretty good because Mitch is always out on social media for the most part. So, to me, it tells me he has to be feeling pretty damn good, right? So, obviously, getting on the court, playing actual games, getting in game time condition is a whole nother animal. But it's exciting knowing that, maybe a couple of weeks from now, maybe, come playoff time, we'll have Mitch back. That's huge, man. That's huge.
It is, man. And it is. But, we're getting there, guys. We are getting there. We're getting closer. I feel it. I feel it. It's like I feel weird whenever the Knicks lose. And I'm always like, oh, we're missing these guys. We're missing our guys. So it is what it is. We lost. And then when they win, I'm like, wow, what a gritty win. What a team. When the guys come back, we're going to the finals. I can't wait till everyone comes back. So, right? It's just like a weird
Yeah.
feeling.
It's tough because, you know, you don't want to use the excuse, oh, we're missing this guy, we're missing that guy. But look,
Yeah.
the truth of the matter is that we're missing some key people. You know, if the Lakers were missing LeBron James and Anthony Davis, which, you know, some nights they are, I'm not gonna, you know, that's probably a bad
Every other night,
anyway,
right?
y'all know what I mean. If there's no LeBron James, Anthony Davis out there, you know, any team would use that, you know, like, hey, we're missing our key guys.
Yeah.
But for the Knicks, man, it just happened all at once, missing our best players, you know,
Yeah.
and even got a scare with Brunson. So, you know, it's been tough. You hate to say it over and over again. If once we get healthy, but that's literally where we are at this point in time.
It's where we're at. Appreciate every single one of you in the comments that says some of these comments. PL, what's going on? Going back to the OG and Anunoby stuff, he says the listen to Knicks front office is smart. I'm sure he's here to stay. They must have made a deal well before when he got here. Yeah. It's just something I pondered about, you know, because Anunoby isn't Mr. Durable. So, you know, he needs to get back on the court, especially if he wants to get paid. Coach here says media talking about trading Mitch means nothing. I haven't seen that, Coach. Have you seen anything about that? I mean, I've seen Mitch has always been in the rumors, right?
Yeah.
Always.
Yeah. I mean, a lot of times you keep seeing that, hey, look how they're playing without Mitch. If you want to keep Hart, if you want to keep Precious, you're gonna have to, you know, deal salary. And they're figuring Mitch is that salary piece. It makes all the sense in the world, I guess, if you look at it from that standpoint, just a salary to move to accommodate, you know, Hart and Precious and whoever else you're trying to sign. But I don't know, man. I still think Mitch is someone you want to hold on to, man. And I know it's going to be difficult with the way Hart is obviously playing this year, and even Precious. But you know, I still think Big Mitch needs to be a part of this team.
He does. And Big Taz brings up a great question. How long would it take for everyone to get acclimated to playing again? You know, that's the question we asked last week as well. You know, with the new guys, chemistry, will it be an issue? With, you know, in a perfect world, Randle's back, Anunoby's back, Robinson is back. Where do the minutes come from for everybody? Where does the Precious minutes come from if Mitchell Robinson is back? Precious will still get spot minutes, but where do you find the Burks has been struggling that we'll talk about in a few. Seems like he's kind of hit a wall. McBride. So, you know, but we said then we'll get there. We'll hit that, you know, we'll get there when we get there. Right. I mean, you know, I feel like it's a good problem to have. It's always a good problem to have.
Yeah. I think we're going to be fine. I mean, I think it's a little bit overblown as far as like, you know, going crazy over who's going to get what minutes. Cause like, you know, let's be real. This is a Tom Thibodeau team, and if he can get OG Anunoby, Julius Randle, Mitchell Robinson back, you know, those guys are gonna eventually, if not immediately, slide into their roles, their main role.
Yeah.
So, to me, it's a little bit of a no-brainer, but I get it. You know, we've seen so many lineups as of late. You know, it's and guys just stepping up and playing so well that, you know, there are questions you have to ask.
LV in the chat, what's going on? LV, always appreciate you in here supporting as well. So I have a poll in the chat in the YouTube channel. If you guys haven't voted, we're up to 29 votes. The question is, when healthy, how far can the New York Knicks go as a team? Option 1, the second round. Option 2, the Eastern Conference Finals. Option 3, the NBA Finals. So far, Eastern Conference Finals and NBA Finals are tied at 45%. Chris, I pose the question to you. When healthy, how far can this New York Knicks team go in the playoffs? You know, we're winless against Boston. We're, you know, go ahead. The floor is yours.
I say NBA Finals, man. Yeah. NBA Finals, because, look, I know small sample size, but when we had OG Anunoby, Julius Randle out there, this is even before we got Alec Burks and Bogdanovich. We were playing amazing. We went on that, you know, 9-game run. It was awesome. And then the injuries hit. So in my opinion, having those guys back, having that bench unit bolstered by Alec Burks and Bogdanovich, I feel pretty damn good about this team. Obviously, we'll see how it goes with the, seeding for the playoffs and all that, but I like our chances against any team. And we played the Celtics pretty damn well, outside of that third quarter where everything went downhill. But look, again, we're missing some key guys, and I think the game would be totally different if those guys were there. So if healthy, why not the NBA Finals, man?
See, I want to say that, man, but it's why I bring up the I'll bring up the standings and the schedule in a bit, but it's why I feel like the third seed is very important to this team. I feel like if we can get that third seed, that would be huge, and you can avoid Boston until the Eastern Conference Finals. Then anything can happen. Again, I call some heat from Boston fans, but I don't care, because we all saw what this New York Knicks team was capable in January, and that was without Burks and Bogdanovich. Now, you can either say Burks and Bogdanovich helps that, or pretty much plateaus it, kind of stays the same. They're still kind of a good team. We don't know how it looks like until those players get on the court and play with Burks and Bogdanovich. I like what I'm seeing from Bogdanovich. Alec Burks, I thought he was going to come in here, and he's just been struggling. He seems like a turnover machine, and he's just sometimes he's out there just turning the ball over like boneheaded plays, and I'm just like, Burks, man, I mean, come on. But he can put the ball in the basket. He can come down and hit like 3 threes in a row, and then he's like, oh, okay, that's Alec Burks. But when healthy, then I feel like the Knicks can get to the Eastern Conference Finals, and if it's Boston, then I feel like we have a 50-50 chance to beat them. And then hey, Boston has choked in the playoffs as well. So, but they're a great team. Don't want to take that away from them. They're a great team. So when healthy, I feel like the New York Knicks can get to the Eastern Conference Finals. And yeah, I mean, but yeah, just that third seed, Chris, is just very vital to the New York Knicks, man. We're finishing third or fourth. Got to finish third, in my opinion. Got to.
Yeah, for sure. I think that's why I go back to the seeding of the playoffs. That's gonna be huge, obviously. Not that I want to dodge any team per se, but like you said, that third seed might be that sweet spot where, you miss out on some key matches until later on in the playoffs. That might just be what the Knicks need.
Yeah, looking at the standings right now, the New York Knicks are number 4 seed in the Eastern Conference. They are 34-23. They are behind the Milwaukee Bucks. Milwaukee won, Knicks lost, so I kind of put them another game ahead of us. But Philadelphia right behind us, and the Pacers are right behind us as well. This is why every game is so important. We can just continue to say guys will come back, Anunoby will come back, Randle will come back, but this is why this stretch here coming up, we'll bring up the schedule in a bit, is important. These got some winnable games at home. Detroit, Pelicans. Pelicans is going to be a tough matchup. Warriors coming in here at Cleveland. So, this stretch is important. If you're talking about, Julius Randle coming back in mid-March, then that's essentially what, 10 more games without Julius Randle, Chris. So yeah. Let's say the Knicks go 5-5 in that stretch, and the Sixers go 7-3. It's just, I'm just making up scenarios in my head, but you see what I'm saying? Like, this is why the third seed is, got to take care of business, man. Got to take care of business.
Yeah, not only that, you don't want to, we got to definitely win the games that we can win during the next, 10 or so games, until we get at least OG Anunoby back, in my opinion. Because we can't afford to lose many more games. You see how tight, you just showed us how tight the standings are right now in the Eastern Conference. And you're talking about 2 more games, and we lose 2 more games and we could fall, way down. So that's, again, something you don't want to, it's not a trend you want to continue. But again, we're battling this injury bug, and it's going to be tough. It's going to be tough, man.
PL says, I think they will fall in line once the big dogs come back and relieve some pressure. PL, man, what's going on in the chat? Always appreciate you in the chat, chopping it up. Evan said it's not that bad contract, but is available. I think they're chatting amongst themselves in the chat. Anthony, what's going on in the chat? I wouldn't mind playing the Philadelphia in the first round and just sweeping them. Oof. Philadelphia, first round, the Knicks and Philly. Ooh, I would sweep or gentleman sweep. I wouldn't mind either or, to be honest with you. But that would be, hey, Embiid's status is up in the air, so I wouldn't mind that, Chris.
I'd be careful, what you wish for there because they are saying Embiid might
Yeah.
come back by playoff time. So you don't know. Obviously, we don't know how he'd look, but that changes things, man. Embiid is a great player, so be cautious with what you wish for.
Be cautious what you wished for. Coach says I'm worried. I'm more worried about health rather than playoff position. I agree.
Yeah.
I do agree.
Yeah.
But finish 1 through 6. Everyone healthy, I don't care. Finish 1 through 6, then tip the ball off in the playoffs because Knicks can go into any arena and beat them, and they're a great home team as well. Just I agree with what you said. I'd rather health over playoff position. Don't want to finish in that play-in tournament. So yeah, Coach, I like that.
Yeah.
Ant
Likewise.
says we're 2-0 against Philadelphia with Embiid or without Embiid. I think we're 1. Yeah, we beat them with Embiid. We beat them without Embiid. Evan says Embiid is on life alert. Embiid is on life alert right now. S550. Come playoffs, you starring Isaiah Hartenstein or Mitchell Robinson?
I gotta go with iHeart. Mitch is coming off, obviously feeling pretty good, posting on social media and whatnot. But I gotta go with iHeart because, he's been playing amazing, and Mitch has to ramp up, man. I don't think you could just throw Mitch right back into the starting lineup and expect him to play, the same way he was prior to his injury. So I say iHeart, and then Mitch spells iHeart for a few minutes here and there, at least until he gets up to speed.
I agree. But then Tom Thibodeau last week said we're missing our front court. So, Tom Thibodeau is one of those coaches that I kind of thought about this too. Like a healthy Mitchell Robinson, is he really going to stick Hartenstein in there and take that job from Mitch? Because I feel like when Mitchell Robinson, let's say he's like 5 to 10 games in and he's ready, I feel like Tom Thibodeau will make that, switch and put Isaiah Hartenstein off the bench because don't get me wrong, Hartenstein off the bench was, awesome as well. Mitchell Robinson was awesome in the starting lineup too. And we just haven't seen Mitch with Anunoby. That kind of gets me excited, defensively.
Can't wait to see that.
That's crazy.
I cannot wait to see that one, man. That's going to be beautiful.
Mitch and Anunoby in the lineup together. All right, Chris. Versus Detroit, man. Got to get a win. Looking at the schedule for the New York Knicks, Detroit, Pelicans, Golden State, at Cleveland, versus Atlanta. Trae Young just went down with a wrist injury, getting surgeries, out for like 4 weeks. So versus Atlanta, was it wrist, right?
I think it's finger surgery or something like that.
And then Orlando, and then back-to-back against the Philadelphia 76ers without Joel Embiid. We can kind of not put him in the rearview mirror, these two games, but that'll kind of, if they're still behind us, we can really take a lead ahead of them with that. And then Orlando coming in here, and we're winless against Orlando. So that game will be important. But, I mean, look at all these home games right here. And then we go on the West Coast trip. Got to get it done. I mean, no excuses, right?
Yeah. I mean, I see a lot of winnable games there. We got to get one versus Orlando, man. We got to beat that Orlando team. I have a feeling maybe we'll have OG and Anunoby finally for one of those Orlando games. I think that's going to be it. We'll get that dub. But yeah, man, I'm the next 10 games or so, I'm predicting, we could go 7-3.
If everything,
think that's optimistic, too optimistic.
Let's say, look, Detroit's going to come in here. Carmelo Anthony is saying Evan Fournier is going to drop 40 points on us. I don't know if you saw that, but he said Fournier is going to come in here and seek revenge in MSG. Come on.
Oh, man.
But
I mean, it could happen, right? It could happen.
And then Grimes is going to come back, and Grimes just played his first game against Detroit. So let's say we win. I'm win. Pelicans win, and then the Warriors. I say we go 2-1 at Cleveland. That's tough, but okay. Let's say 2-2 these next 4 games. Just to be cautious. 2-2 versus Atlanta, 3-2 versus Orlando. We finally get a win versus Orlando, and like Chris said, I think March 8th and March 10th, these 3 games right here, I think that's when OG Anunoby comes back. The 8th, the 10th, or the 12th. Because if they're saying he'll be reevaluated March 1st, and then a little bit after that, he will not take that long to come back, that leads me to believe the 8th, 10th, or 12th is when OG Anunoby comes back. And after the 5th, the Knicks have 2 days off. So like you said, Chris, the 8th, I don't know, we're not predicting it, but I wouldn't be shocked if the 8th versus Orlando, Anunoby's back in the lineup. So
I would love that. I would love that because we need a win against Orlando, man. That team, we've gotten close, but we need to get one.
We got to get one. All right, hit some of these comments. S550 says hand surgery. I think Randle will be back. Randle and OG will be back for Philly. Yeah, I think OG will come back before Randle, but I think Anunoby will come back, like I just said, either the game against Orlando or the game after that. Then I feel like we're getting there, guys. We're getting there. Grimes wanted to just sit on the bench on a tanking team. Coach Shier says, I don't think Grimes had a good game this first game back from a knee injury. But it is we'll see him. We'll see him out there. I'm still supporting Grimes. I'm still supporting.
You think Grimes is gonna lock down Brunson, man?
Stop.
Fournier's gonna drop 40, and Grimes locks down Brunson. Brunson scores 10.
Fournier dropping 40. Yo, Fournier comes in here and drops like a 30 piece on us. Oh man, that'll be a depressing post game.
I was gonna say it's gonna be a tough post game.
That'll be depressing for sure. Big Taz says Carmelo is a troll. Yeah, he really said he was gonna come in here and drop because he's obviously, the animosity between Fournier and the Knicks. He's playing with Detroit, but he's just come on, Carmelo. I don't know what you were thinking about when you brought that up, but these are the playoff odds, Chris. So that's current, right?
Yep.
Yeah. So
current as of when? Today. From Basketball Reference. And you see the Knicks there, 98%, man. Obviously, we built that at good lead, in the standings as far as our record goes before the All-Star break, and so far surviving through all these injuries. And the Knicks are right there, 98%.
98%, man. 98%. And here we are just, off of a loss versus Boston, just kind of, thinking of ways we can get better, obviously. But 98%, the New York Knicks. And so that means we're making the playoffs. Barring any sort of, collapse. 98%, Boston. Why is Cleveland at 100%? Why is that? Is it because their record?
I think they're probably the hottest team right now, right?
I mean, they've lost a couple. They won their last game, but I don't know. This is a different Cleveland team, but if we get matched up against Cleveland, Chris, what do you like? I mean, look.
Every season is different, but again, until proven wrong, it just seems like Brunson versus Donovan Mitchell. Obviously, there's other players involved, but he just seems to get the better of Donovan Mitchell teams. So
yeah, until
I'm proven wrong, man, I'm rolling with the Knicks on that.
Yeah, I know. PL says I still don't understand how Cleveland is ahead of us. LOL. Look, they had a crazy easy schedule in the month of beginning of this month, the month of February, end of January. They've had a good schedule. Look, they're a good team. Don't want to take anything away from them. Look, they've gotten new players, but we kind of saw what it looked like last season. But like you said, it's a different season. So right now, seeding kind of, if Cleveland stays in that second seed, which I think they're going to fall back, but hey, you never know. I think the Knicks can get the third seed. We just have to, keep winning games we're supposed to win and just, hope for the best and just go from there. But yeah, these are the Eastern Conference playoff odds. Boston and Cleveland 100%, Milwaukee 98%, Knicks 98%, Philly 96%. That's without Embiid. Orlando 94%. Indiana. Okay, out of these teams, Chris, let's go through Orlando, Indiana, Miami. You guys in the chat can chime in as well. Chicago. No, not Chicago. Miami, Indiana, Orlando. Which one of those teams would give the Knicks a run for their money in a 7-game series? Let's say we match up against them the first round, second round. Which one of those teams you think, damn, we're playing these guys?
For me, it has to be Miami, man. Because again, they're just that team that, regular season is the regular season. They don't care if they're 8th, they're 10th. It just seems like once playoff rolls around, they turn it up a notch. Jimmy Butler, Bam Adebayo. I got a lot of respect for those guys, especially after our previous series against them. So that's the team that scares me the most, in my opinion. As far as the sleeper team that comes out of nowhere and takes everybody out.
You saw that brawl that they had the other day with, I forgot which team it was, but Butler got choked.
Yeah.
The Knicks fans.
He ended up getting suspended too.
Knicks fans on X. Oh, that came out? He was just suspended? Oh, wow.
Yeah, I believe it was 1 game suspension.
Knicks fans on X were like, oh, here with the Miami Heat. But Evan says Indy. And PL says Miami for me too. Yeah. It's for me, I think Indiana, I think we can take in a 7-game series. But obviously Miami it seems like they don't really turn it up until until the end of the season and the playoffs. They obviously have a, hell of a coach in Eric Spoelstra, and what they did to us last season. But, I think it's Miami. I don't want to face Miami. But I do think Orlando could cause some matchup issues. I think that would be a good series, too, because their front court, Banchero's a good player. Then you have, scrappy, defenders. They'll throw out some things at Jalen Brunson. So I think that'll be a good series, too. I think the first couple of rounds have a chance to be really fun, I'm excited for that.
Yeah, I mean, you're gonna have teams like Orlando and Indy that haven't been there for a while, and look, that to them that's playing with house money, and I think that makes those types of teams dangerous, right?
Yeah,
because it's almost like, hey, we're gonna give it our all. We haven't been here in a minute. This is all new. If we win, great. If we don't, you're gonna see us again next season. So to me, those are the dangerous teams, right? I mean, it's like you said, it's gonna be fun, man. It's gonna be fun. We're gonna have a lot of fun matchups come playoff time.
Yeah, for sure. Once a Nick says they are not the same Miami from last year, then Big Taz says I can't stand these nothing to lose, all to gain teams like Orlando.
Yeah,
it's true.
There you go.
It's true.
It's true. Those are the dangerous teams, man. They'll just go in with that chip on their shoulders, So
yeah,
you got to match that intensity.
Once the Nick says Milwaukee. Milwaukee's there. Got to respect Milwaukee too. Yeah. Then Anthony says I respect Miami as well because they hustle just like the New York Knicks, just like we do. Big Taz says Miami is in the rearview mirror. They were in the rearview mirror last year. Then don't forget, man, we came into that series all hype. We were like, yo, we going to the Eastern Conference Finals. And then, we all know what happened. That it stunk. But injuries and whatnot quickly. People struggled in that series, but hey, check on this poll, Chris. What we got? You see it? Yeah. When healthy, how far can the Knicks go? 42 votes. Eastern Conference Finals, NBA Finals, 45%. 45% is still in a dead lock in the second round at 10%. I see the vision. Guys, man. I see the vision. Eastern Conference Finals, NBA Finals with a healthy squad. And I think we really can go far. Chris, Alec Burks. Got some stats here, Mr. Burks, that are not great. Alec Burks' numbers as a Knick. 42% efficiency field goal percentage. He's shooting 32% from mid-range. 34% three-point shot. Turnovers are bad. Yeah, when you're looking at Alec Burks, Chris, when you're studying Alec Burks, what do you see? Like, what do you see that's wrong? What do you see is going on? Can he fix this? He's just struggling right now. Burks is struggling.
He is. He is struggling really, really badly. I mean, outside of the indie game, right, where he he went off late in that game. Actually, he hit 4 of 7 from 3. Outside of that game, the next 4 games he had have been really, really bad. I mean, they're counting on him to initiate the offense. You're seeing him out there with Deuce McBride.
Yeah.
I don't know if it's just, him trying to gain his rhythm with this team again and just playing with, some players that he's not used to playing with. But I don't know. I really can't pinpoint why he's brought here for his offense, obviously. I can't pinpoint why his shots are not going down because it's not like he's getting bad shots either, you know? Does he force it at times? Yeah. Hell yeah. But it's looked bad lately. And, I mean, does it worry you? Is it worrying you at this point with Alec Burks? A small sample size, but again, I think he's being put in a position where, again, if everybody were healthy, he really wouldn't be in. So I think that contributes to it a bit.
Yeah, I'm trying. Like, I try to go deep in the numbers with Burks. I try to figure out what. I mean, it's been a small sample size, like you said. The 42% efficiency field goal percentage isn't great, and his mid-range shots, he kind of shoots on a beeline too. You know, doesn't really have arc on his shot. He's a great free throw shooter. Missed. Well, which game was it? Philly that he missed 2 in the fourth. Then I was like, come on, Burks. Turnovers are, you know. Let's look at the. I mean, he's only had 1. I mean, the turnovers they're not, you know, crazy. He's only had he had 3 versus Indiana, then 1 after every game after that. I just feel like with Burks, it could be a comfortable, you know, it just could be him trying to get into rhythm, him trying to just figure out his role. Because like you said, he's coming in with McBride. And one of the games, Houston game, he was struggling a lot. Actually, he hit a big 3 in that game late in the fourth. So, yeah, I mean, efficiency, I think will get better. I think it'll get better because I'm looking at his numbers from Detroit, and I know Detroit, granted, is, you know, you can't really compare the Knicks and Detroit because he was putting up offensive numbers like crazy, but he was shooting a lot in Detroit. But he was more efficient in Detroit. So, you know, I just feel like I have hope, but sometimes it looks terrible. I'm not going to lie to you. Sometimes it looks bad on the court. You know, he had a turnover against the last game, and it was an outlet pass to, I think, Precious, and he kind of just rolled the ball over to, and then it went out of bounds. So not really too concerned because Burks will come in. You know, let's say we get Anunoby back, then Anunoby comes back, and Tom Thibodeau likes to play Anunoby with that bench unit. So then you would have a lineup of Burks, Anunoby, possibly McBride, Hart, Bogdanovich. So I want to say I'm worried, but at the same time, I'm like, you know, I feel like the efficiency will come, but got to step it up. You know, he's not playing well. Got to step it up. You know.
Yeah, I'd like at least his 3-point spot up shooting to be a little bit better.
Yeah.
But I could get the rest. You know, coming back to the Knicks. Obviously, we actually thought Alec Burks was gonna be, you know, one to just get acclimated to this team quicker just because of the history, obviously.
Yeah.
Already playing for Thibodeau, already knowing what he likes to run and whatnot. But, you know, maybe we underestimated it. And it's taken him some time. And like you said, it hasn't looked good. But I still think he's going to turn it around. He's an instant offense type of guy. And he's going to help us. He's going to help us, especially once, again, we get everybody back and he falls into his, you know, the role they envision him in. I think we're going to be fine.
Yeah. Anthony says, I do like McBride a lot better than Alec Burks because Deuce plays excellent defense and he can shoot the 3 like crazy now. Yeah, I mean, there's like last game, there was times where McBride has outplayed Burks. So that's going to be an interesting wrinkle, you know, for Tom Thibodeau. You know, Thibs loves Alec Burks and, you know, he can put the ball in the basket and he's a great free throw shooter. So those players you kind of want on the court. You know, in the fourth quarter, you like situational situations. Obviously, if, you know, the teams are looking to foul, you put Burks in and whatnot. But, yeah, I mean, McBride, I mean, you know, I feel like those two will go back and forth throughout, you know, the rest of the regular season. And then the playoffs, you know, the reason why I loved why the Knicks got Bogdanovich and Burks is because every series is different. I mean, they don't play, and Burks' defense has been bad. And Bogdanovich's defense has been bad too. But Bogdanovich is putting the ball in the basket. You know, he's a sniper. He's making everything out there. But every series is different. So let's say we get matched up with Orlando in round 1, and you get more of Burks. You get more offensive game from Burks. And let's say the next round, let's say McBride comes out of nowhere and starts playing better than Burks, and you kind of can switch it out. You kind of have, options in that aspect. So I feel like when playoffs come, I think it'll be matchup based. I think Tom Thibodeau will make it matchup based. If Burks has it, Burks has it. If McBride has it, then McBride has it. So I think those two will go back and forth. But yeah, Burks right now has been struggling, and defense. I see defense comments in the chat here that he's just been struggling defensively, and Bogdanovich has been. They both got hunted yesterday by Boston. That wasn't a pretty sight to see, but that's what you get with them.
Yeah, I mean, the weird thing is that Burks isn't terrible on defense, and I don't think Bogdanovich has that reputation either, where he's, he's not a supreme or elite defender, but he's an average defender.
Yeah.
So I think maybe it's more so just positioning as far as like getting used to where Tibbs wants them to be and things like that, or just, mental lapses at that. So I think it'll get better, definitely on the offensive end, and maybe just we need a little bit more time.
Like Keith Taylor in the chat, what's going on, Keith? When the Clippers had it, James Harden, they lost 5 in a row. Given time, Burks will be fine once we get everyone back. That's the side where I'm just, one side of me wants to, say that when, Burks will be fine because like I said, I love the lineups of Anunoby, and whatnot, and Randle and whatnot. So I feel like Burks will be fine with those guys. But at the moment, it seems like everyone is kind of just, trying to, grasp at straws, they're struggling right now. They're struggling. And Jalen Brunson, I mean, we got some stats since the All-Star break. Jalen Brunson, 27.5 points. He's averaging 27.5 points, 10.5 assists, 2.5 rebounds, averaging 39% on 17 of 43 field goal percentage with 5 turnovers through the first 2 games. And then Jalen Brunson, I noticed this is taking less shots at the rim this season. He's taking 18% of his shots at the rim compared to last year's 36%. He's taking more long mid-range jump shots. He's taking more short mid-range jump shots. So, Chris, I mean, when you hear that, what do you kind of equate that to? Turnovers have been up, but efficiency has kind of shots at the rim are just Mitch.
Yeah, I think a big deal of it is that, teams are going after Jalen Brunson now. I mean, obviously not having that much firepower with OG and Julius out. Teams are definitely going after Jalen Brunson, and not only on the offensive end, but on the defensive end. So you're seeing teams now, as soon as Jalen Brunson crosses that, crosses midcourt, they're starting to double him right away. So one thing I did notice is now Jalen Brunson isn't even bringing up the ball that much. So now they're having Brunson kind of run, go through a couple picks or off-ball screens, just trying to get him the ball. And I think that causes the shot clock. Obviously you're getting the ball on Brunson's hands with 10, 15 seconds left on the shot clock, and doesn't give you much time to do anything. Brunson, obviously he's been fantastic, still being pretty efficient, but they're not making it easy on him by any means, man. And I think that's part of the turnovers too. He has to be tired.
Yeah, like you said, they're trying to take the ball. He's head of the snake right now, especially with Randle, not being here. Teams are trying to take the ball out of Brunson, but he's still averaging, damn near 30 points a game. I mean, it's crazy. Was he at 28 points per game now? He's a stud, man. He's a superstar. Still get into his area, still get into his spots. Efficiency hasn't really been there, but what I love is that the assist numbers have been up. That means if he's being draped by somebody, he's finding the open man. And the open man now with Josh Hart starting really has been hard. He's really stepped it up here. I mean, 17 points, 10 rebounds, 4.5 assists in 2 games since the All-Star break. Josh Hart's been playing well. We've really seen these last kind of like month and a half, Josh Hart has really stepped up, kind of started slow, but Josh Hart has stepped up. Brunson's assist numbers are up. And, so I feel like you said, teams are adjusting, it's really like football. You take the week, you find the weak spots, you practice. Teams are starting to hunt Brunson. They're trying to get the ball out of his hands. They're telling everyone else to beat them. Anyone else on the court, please beat them. And, for the most part, I mean, the Knicks have they've lost They've only won 2 out of their last, what did I say, 6 games? Something like that.
2 out of the last 8.
2 out of the last 8. So, yeah, I mean, Anunoby's coming back, though. Guys are coming back. So, but yeah, in terms of Brunson, I'm not the efficiency. I think it's going to be up and down with him. You know, the assist numbers are up, so that's what I love. And you know, it's just he's adjusting, and he's a heck of a player, and he will adjust, in my opinion.
Yeah. And the biggest adjustment I've seen so far, you know, coming from those double teams, is that he's starting to see them earlier before, you know.
Yeah.
And I think that's part of the reason why, you know, his turnovers went up, is because, you know, he wasn't used to getting that type of attention. You know, he always had Julius. Julius was always on the court. And now that he's not there, you know, Brunson is just, like you said, head of the snake. They're trying to take him out. And I think that causes turnovers to go up. But he's seeing it. He's recognizing it earlier. And like you said, assist numbers are up. I think he had, 9 or 12 assists versus the Celtics recently. So that's great news. And shout out to Josh Hart, man. I know small sample size, but since the All-Star break, you know, he's been aggressive, man. He's not hesitating as much with his 3-point shots, which I love to see. And he's knocking some of them down, man. And he stepped it up big time. And that's something I hope carries over to the end of the season.
Yeah, he's shooting them with more confidence as well. And, you know, he's
for sure.
You know, he made a joke on the roommates pod saying he's a 3-and-D guy without the 3, which was kind of funny.
Yeah.
But, you know, since he made that comment, he's actually been, you know, playing really well. And, yeah, man, shout out to Josh. I mean, he's playing heavy minutes, man. You're looking at these Josh Hart minutes, it's like 40 minutes every night. So, but, you know, he's not complaining, right? I mean, it is what it is at this point.
According to the roommates pod, he'll always complain, but, you know, when it comes to game time, he's still on the court. So,
yeah,
I'll take it.
These guys are warriors. We are live for another live stream edition, obviously. How many likes we got? 18 likes. Let's get that up to 25 likes. Appreciate you guys in here chopping it up. We are live every single Sunday at 9:30, chopping it up about the New York Knicks. Obviously, just chopping it up week previously. Games coming up here. Stats, you name it. We went through the OG Anunoby update, the Julius Randle update. For those of you that are just joining, it's looking like Anunoby is going to be back before Julius Randle. Anunoby's shoulder, it's looking like it's healing properly, so he'll get reevaluated this week, March 1st, and it's looking like a little bit after that, Anunoby will be back. We kind of, you know, made a prediction that it probably be that Orlando game, maybe the Philadelphia game a little bit after that. And then Woj said that Randle, when he comes back in the middle of the March, that he will play through some pain. Obviously, Julius Randle is one of the most physical players in the NBA. So I feel like, you know, when he first comes back, he might turn into a 3-point shooter, but just his presence on the court will be huge. I mean, his rebounding presence, we all know he's a great rebounder. He's physical. 3-point shot. He actually started to shoot the 3 better with Anunoby. So, you know, that's exciting. Then Big Mitch, you know, we gave the update on Big Mitch. It's looking like Big Mitch is coming back. And right now we're just, you know, we have these stretch of games here, Chris, where we just got to get some home wins, got to keep the team behind us, and then keep winning these games because every game is important.
For sure. We have some very winnable games coming up, and we got to take advantage. Got to take advantage of those games. You know, the Knicks have been really good against teams that are under 500.
Yeah.
But we just gotta get wins, man, because like you mentioned earlier, we're 2 for our last 8. That needs to get better. You know, you hear Brunson preaching the same thing. We got to get wins. We got to get wins. So regardless of the injury bugs that's hitting us, we need to get these wins one way or another.
We do. Rick says this is not the time for fans to freak out. We just need a whole court till all of our dogs are ready to go. We will be a problem. Then Rick said a good point. He says teams are only doubling Jalen Brunson because Julius is out. Once we're healthy, things will open up for JB. Yes, I mean that's why, you know, last week we had the poll of when healthy. I mean, we had the poll of, what was the poll, like which Knick? I forgot the poll.
It's more important.
It's more important. Okay.
Yeah, which one is more important to get back first? Something around that.
Yeah. And you said Anunoby and I said Randle, and then we went back and forth, and you know that's why Randle was so important, just to free up Jalen Brunson's offensive offensive game. And then Big Taz says, question, is Josh Hart a post All-Star break player?
I'll say yeah. I'll say yeah. I mean, I think especially when the way this season has played out so far, he, after playing with Team USA and all that, he had a very slow start, whatnot. Didn't really start ramping up until, recently, if you want to say. But, with all the injuries, obviously, he got thrust into a high minute count with Tibbs. And, now post All-Star break, he's showing out right now. I mean, again, small sample size, but I would love to see Josh Hart play the way he's been playing, from now to end of playoffs. Because it looks like the Josh Hart we got when we made the trade for him, right? That was awesome. Injection of energy. We felt like we were winning every game no matter what. That's the type of Josh Hart I want to see day in and day out.
Yep. And, he'll be relegated back to the bench when everyone is healthy, and then he can just, be back on the bench. And then Big Taz says, I hope we have a game plan for Evan Fournier. Yeah, Carmelo says Fournier. According to Carmelo Anthony, Evan Fournier is going to drop 35 on us. So that would be hilarious.
Hey, he's heating up, man. I've checked a few of the box scores. He got Fournier? 10 points here, 11 points there. I think he scored 13 last game, Hey, man, I keep tabs on the ex-Knicks players, man. Once a Knick, always a Knick.
Man, oh, man. Poll is up to 55 votes. How far can the New York Knicks team go as a team when healthy? How far can the Knicks go as a team? NBA Finals, 47%. Eastern Conference Finals, 40%. 13%. Second round. Got some audio from Stephen A. Smith. I know you guys probably are like, Stephen A. Smith? We do not want to hear Stephen A. Smith this Sunday night. But he actually, spoke kind of highly on the New York Knicks, surprisingly. So here's Stephen A. Smith saying the Knicks can get to the Eastern Conference Finals.
Listen, if the New York Knicks are a top 3 seed, the objective is to avoid the Boston Celtics.
Right.
That's the objective. Now, watching Giannis Antetokounmpo hit free throws last night in Minnesota, that made me a bit scarier. That made them a bit scary in my eyes. But for the moment, it's about the Boston Celtics. Am I worried about the Cleveland Cavaliers? No. We know what Donovan Mitchell could do. We know what Darius Garland could do. We wonder what Jared Allen will do, averaging 15 and 10 this year. But I'm not sold. If the New York Knicks are healthy, with the pickup of Bogdanovich, with DiVincenzo playing the way that he's playing, with Alec Burks being a reliable point guard that Thibodeau would trust to use to supplement, to sub for Jalen Brunson. If Julius Randle comes back healthy, if Mitchell Robinson comes back healthy, that's my concern. It's not anybody outside of Boston on that list. It's the New York Knicks' health. If the New York Knicks come back healthy, they're going to the conference finals.
Wow.
They're going to the conference finals. Listen,
if the New York Knicks get healthy, they're going to the conference finals, and that's what we've been saying. What's your response to Stephen A. Smith on that drop?
Man, I almost feel like that's a curse for us, in my opinion. I mean, he's talked so much, about the Knicks and not buying into anything that we're doing, and then now he wants to say we're going to the Eastern Conference Finals, caring about the health. Come on, man. I don't know how I feel about that. Yeah, true, right there. Like Coach says, don't care about Stephen A. Smith's fake love. That's exactly how I feel.
Yeah, but, I agree with him. I agree. I mean, but if we're healthy, I feel like we're Eastern Conference Finals bound. But I feel like, like he said, 3 seed, like we've been saying as pod, 3 seed is so important. This chat, man. Appreciate every single one of you. Stephen A. is a true bandwagon fan, regardless if he's from New York. Anthony, please do the opposite of whatever Stephen A. Smith says, and we will win guaranteed. Knicks fan base has turned on Stephen A. Smith, man. Do you think, this is a serious, do you think that he's actually watched the Knicks game start to finish before they got, I want to say before January? You feel like he actually watched the Knicks game start to finish?
Honestly, with some of his takes, man, I really don't think he's watching any of these games.
Yeah,
in my opinion, he might be catching the highlights or something like that. But he rarely has any praise for the Knicks. You know, if somebody's talking up the Knicks, if Kendrick Perkins is talking up the Knicks, Stephen A. Smith is going, but they sucked this time last year, or they sucked here, or they did this wrong, or they should have got this person. It's never, yeah, Knicks are playing well, they're gonna make some noise. Nothing like that. It's always the negative. And hey, I get it. The negativity sells or whatever, but I don't know, man. It comes off a little fake in my opinion, where now all of a sudden you want to say, oh, if they're healthy. But he was blasting them a few weeks back, talking about Julius Randle isn't going to get it done. OG Anunoby
That is
isn't
true.
the piece they should have got. Come on, man.
Yeah, that is true.
That's why I don't buy it.
That is. Coach Ye says never. He just gets the box scores. Stephen A. Smith has never watched a Knicks game since Carmelo Anthony was on the team. Oh, man. Yeah, but I agree with what he said in that little soundbite. I really do. If I don't agree with him many times, but I feel like I agree with him when he said, when healthy, the Knicks can. And that's what I've been saying all along. That's why I caught heat from Boston fans. But we brought Anunoby in here for one sole reason, to guard Tatum, to guard Jaylen Brown, and bigger body. That's what we were lacking. Their size was all over us against Boston. They were taking DiVincenzo to the hoop. They were taking, Brunson. They were attacking, who was it? Precious, Hart. Putting Anunoby in there is a different story. And Mitch in there is a different story. Randle in there is a different story. So what we've been saying for about a few weeks now, hopefully it comes true, man. I have faith, though. I have faith. We're getting closer.
Gotta get healthy.
We're getting closer. He only watches us when LeBron is playing us. First thing he will say that it's Dolan's fault. Yeah, I mean, ESPN is like Chris said, negativity sells nowadays, man. It's unfortunate, us diehard, passionate Knicks fans who are actually watching the games inside and out. Hopefully you guys are, appreciating us. We're just coming in here, chopping it up, speaking about the New York Knicks. But that negativity, it does. He's in the national media, and he's, built up a resume where he can, have a voice like that. But like Chris said, negativity sells. So it is what it is.
Yeah, man. I mean, look, I guess taking what he said and just taking Stephen A. Smith out of the equation altogether. But, that's just it's what we've been saying all along. Get healthy, and the Knicks are going to make some noise. So I do agree with the premise. I just don't agree with, who said it per se.
All right. Around the NBA, before we head up on out of here, we'll go around the NBA. Last week, what was it, a few days ago? Kevin Durant's agent, they did a sit down. Kevin Durant and his agent, Rich Kleiman, did a sit down. Rich Kleiman said pretty much, retract your statement that you said the New York Knicks weren't cool. And Kevin Durant said, oh, back then they weren't cool, but now the Knicks are popping. That's what Kevin Durant said. He looked like he was stoned, by the way. Durant looked like he was stoned during the interview. But Durant is like, now the Knicks are popping. Of course we're popping, Durant. I mean, when you heard that, I mean, it kind of, went through the rounds on Twitter and whatnot. I was just like, a little bit too late, KD. But then you had, Kevin Durant maybe wanting to be a Knick now.
Oh, boy. Yeah, I mean, you knew that was going to happen. But look, I mean, it's what everybody basically knew in 2019. KD and, everybody around KD wanted him to be on the Knicks. They wanted him to go to the Knicks. And it seems like it was just strictly a KD thing where he was like, I don't want to do what you guys want me to do. I'll do what I want to do type of deal. And we all know how that played out, right? Went to Brooklyn.
Disaster.
And it was a disaster. Followed Kyrie Irving. What could have been, what probably should have been with those two guys never happened.
Yeah.
On the court, off the court, it was just a disaster. I think they asked him even if he regrets it or whatnot, and he was like, nah, but come on. Part of you.
He does.
He has to wonder, hey, what if I did go, not even to the Knicks, but what if I just took a different path in general, right?
Yeah.
That's just, I think any human being would think about that.
It's like KD turned down the Knicks at the time, and it's like during the 3 years that he was in Brooklyn, now he's in Phoenix, and Knicks hit the lottery, and now they're like kind of like the hot, sexy girl. And Durant's like, oh, you know what? Like, it's popping now, you know? Oh, now he's like thinking about it in the back of his head. And now Knicks fans are like, whoa, back then you were saying that we weren't cool, this and that. And we weren't this and that. We weren't cool. We were building something. You know, Randle was on that team, you know. Barrett just got drafted. So I just feel like KD now in 2024, he's kind of reflecting a little bit. Like I said, he looks stoned in that interview. He's probably like, dang, you know what? I probably did make a mistake. But Nike said, now we're popping. Now we're popping.
Yeah, and KD's agent, man. KD's agent, and I think even his family, his parents wanted him on the Knicks, man.
Everybody.
I mean, it's
Everybody.
good. It's good to get that confirmation per se. You know that these guys, they wanted KD on the Knicks, and you know, for whatever reason, I don't know what was going through KD's head. Maybe he has some vision or whatnot, but you know, for obvious reasons, I feel like he made a mistake. Should have been on the Knicks. Who knows how things would have played out?
Yeah.
You know, but you know, do you want KD on this Knicks squad right now?
Nah. I mean, you know, look, KD's a great player, but nah. Let him be in Phoenix, and you know, it seems like he's looking at the NBA like a business at this point of his career. But got some KD comments in the chat. His agent knew he was killing his brand. Yeah, Rich Kleiman wanted him to be a Knicks so bad, and he was a Knicks fan too. I don't even know if he is a Knicks fan currently, but Kleiman was pushing hard for KD to be a Knick. KB probably wanted his number retired in Brooklyn. You know what I think it is? I think he got to Brooklyn. A couple years went by, and he saw the fan bases are just different. You know, Brooklyn is, look, the Nets, I don't know. They just fired their coach. The fan base is, I don't want to be disrespectful right now, but the fan base is like, just doesn't seem like a team that has a direction. So KD probably spent his time there and saw the Knicks fans, like he's looking out from his balcony and they're seeing all the Knicks fans like, oh, KD, the Knicks, what up? F. Trae Young, you know, that was when the F. Trae Young thing, he wanted to be a part of it, but then he couldn't. Deep down inside, he didn't want to say it, and now he's like, Knicks are popping now. Now he's saying the Knicks are popping, but that's what I think of it. But it is what it is.
I think that's true. I mean, you know, it's one thing to, you know, hear people saying, oh, you know, you go to Brooklyn, it's, you know, it's a Knicks town. It'll always be a Knicks town. It won't matter. And then you get there and you realize, yeah, there's, you know, we're playing the Knicks. We're at the Barclays Center. We're playing the Knicks, and it's 90% Knicks fans in there. And you've seen it this season too with the Nets. I mean, look, the Nets were supposed to be a scrappy team. Maybe they don't got the most talent or the best talent, but you know, it looked like they were on the up and up, right?
Yeah.
And this season just hasn't gone their way. And man, they're fans. And you've even heard on the Roommates pod, Mikal Bridges blasting the fans, like, you know, talking about it, saying, no, it doesn't feel good when you're getting, you know, booed at your home, you know, your home arena. Like, that has to be so demoralizing. Had to be demoralizing for, you know, KD and Kyrie to realize, hey, we're better than the Knicks right now, but everybody only cares about the Knicks. Like, that had to be demoralizing. Just like I'm sure it's demoralizing for Mikal Bridges, you know, getting booed at the free throw line at Barclays. That's insane.
I love
That's
it, though.
insane.
I feel like, you know,
Me too.
when Bridges went on the Roommates pod, and he was like, he didn't do himself any favors. Like, if I was a Nets fan and I listened to that podcast, I would have been heated, by the way. And then obviously, you know, they fired their coach after that. But, you know, Bridges seemed like he's just there right now, you know, and Bridges' names has been linked to us. So Josh Hart was a troll, taking off the shirt, has a Knicks jersey on, a Knicks shirt on. That was funny. But yeah, I mean, Knicks fan base, man, we love it, man. We roll deep, you know. We rolled everywhere you go this season. Charlotte, the Nets, Orlando, Miami. You're gonna hear us. Every single arena, Jalen Brunson is getting MVP chance at the free throw line. Everyone, even in Philly, he was getting MVP chance. So we roll deep. The Knicks fan base is all over. And I love it. You know, I absolutely love it.
I love it too, man. It just shows how this fan base embraces this team, man. I mean, it's New York, and when things are going good in New York, it makes the NBA better. In my opinion, it makes the NBA better. Any sport with New York's in the picture, it's better.
It is. Coach here says, what fans? Big Taz says the Nets need to go to North Dakota. Nah, I honestly think the Nets need to go back to Jersey. I don't think it's working out for them in Brooklyn. I think they wanted to make the move to Brooklyn, but I feel like the right thing is to go back in Jersey. Have your own state, because right now, when the Knicks and Nets play in Barclays Center, it is 70 to 80% Knicks fans. They try to block it out with their in-arena music. Doesn't really work. But like you said, to Mikal Bridges, it just has to feel demoralizing. Like, imagine you hit a three and crickets. Like, what's going on?
Yeah, man, that has to suck. That has to, and Mikal Bridges caught a lot of flack apparently after that. He caught a lot of heat from Nets fans that basically like, hey, why didn't you stand up for us? But I mean, why would he stand up for them if they're booing him in this home arena? I mean,
they didn't show up.
Can't feel good. Can't feel good, man.
They didn't show up. And Amanda, what's going on in the chat, man? Always appreciate you in here. Amanda, what's going on? Coach here says Philly. Yeah, he got Jalen Brunson got MVP chance in Philly. They did it in Texas, where across the country. Like, I mean, Houston, Knicks fans were there. I feel like I'm missing a stadium. Charlotte was a big one. Atlanta, we're in Atlanta. We're all over.
Yeah.
So
yeah,
I love it, man. Absolutely.
We travel.
That indeed, we travel. S550 says, I live in Florida, and at the Magic game, half stadium was blue and orange, baby. Yeah. The Barclays Center will turn into the Knicks practice facility. Oh, man. Big Tasco is in here throwing haymakers, man. Oh, man. But, Chris, LeBron. What's going on with LeBron around the NBA?
Well, the news about LeBron right now is he's 74 points away from hitting 40K total career points to this point in time. I think second is Kareem with, I think, 38 or 36, actually. So LeBron, man, he's just adding more and more and more to that first place spot when it comes to scoring in the NBA. You think anybody is going to catch LeBron at some point? I mean, we didn't think Kareem was going to get gotten. Here's LeBron. Will we ever see something like this again, man?
Never say never, but LeBron is on a whole nother level. I think, what he has done in his career, 74 points away from 40,000? That is crazy. But I think someone will catch him.
Yeah?
Yeah, I think someone will catch him.
It might take a while, but.
Yeah, it's going to take a while. We'll be like.
Who do you think? Which one of the younger type of up-and-coming stars you think has the best chance to have the longevity of a LeBron? Who's the first one that probably comes to mind? Not to say they're going to get there or be as good as LeBron per se, but I think I got one that kind of.
Then go ahead, because I don't have anything.
I think Ant Edwards.
Oh, yeah. I see that. I can see that. He's young. He can score. I can see that.
Young, he can score, improving shot, can
play
finish
till
out.
30. What is LeBron? 39 to play till 39 though? I don't know.
I mean, I think LeBron's gonna be here till 42.
Yeah. LeBron. He wants to wait for his son to come back in the league, and then he's out of here. Obviously, the LeBron rumors to the Knicks were they were like lasted for a week. Then the Golden State rumors came about. But, Bronny, I think, will stay another year. But, yeah, I don't think anyone. That is crazy. LeBron, 74 points from 40,000. That is crazy. We were witnessing. Sheesh. Got to respect LeBron, man. Got to respect LeBron.
Hate him or love him, LeBron James is one of the best to do it. So, kudos to LeBron James.
I knew I missed some stadiums. Evan says Washington. Yes, in Washington, we were showing out. Yeah. Indeed, we were rolling deep in there. Joel says Knicks versus Thunder finals. That would be amazing. Thunder are a great young up-and-coming team. I would love that. What's the poll up to? Let's check the poll one last time. 67 votes. When healthy, how far can the Knicks go as a team? NBA Finals is winning 49%. Eastern Conference Finals at 40%. Yeah, we went through the injuries. Just got to get healthy at this moment, and then we are good. Just got to win, and then we are good. Joel says it's going to be a while before anyone catches LeBron.
For sure. For sure.
Yeah. And then Big Tass says Ant Edwards and Paolo are future Knick greats. Paolo hit that game winner. That was a nice game winner yesterday from Paolo.
Yeah.
That was a nasty one.
Yeah, he's been showing out lately, man. I mean, we saw it against us, and then he's carrying that over. He's looking like a good player, man.
Yeah.
Maybe he's figured something out.
Yeah, indeed. Big Tass, Ant Edwards, and that is funny. But hey, this has been fun, man. Appreciate every single one of you that had joined us tonight. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't done so already. Please do so. It really helps us out. I think we're so close to 3,000 subscribers, almost there. Ooh. So please make sure you do that as well. Appreciate every single one of you in here. We are live every single Sunday at 9:30 p.m. chopping it up about the Knicks, around the NBA like we did tonight. Hopefully we can get the guys back. The guys are coming back soon. Looking like Anunoby will be back before Randle and then Mitch after that. Got some winnable games coming up. Got to take care of business at home. And then, guys will start trickling in here. Chris, any final words before you want to get up out of here? This was fun.
This was good. Like you said, health. Let's get better. Let's get healthy. And let's get some wins, man.
Yeah. Let us get some wins. Once again, I appreciate every single one of you. As always, it is Let's Go Knicks. I'm Anthony. That is Chris.
I am Chris.
You're Chris. Okay, you guys next time. Peace.
Peace.